morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning to you. I'm sure I just messed that whole thing up right there. But that's for my wife and I, one of our favorite movies, Singing in the Rain. And as you can see, my vocal cords are superior to most. I think I can give anyone a run for their money. All right. As a matter of fact, I think I'm just going to quit trading and I'm going to go into singing R&B full time. Psych! You're listening to the pre-market PulseScan report with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous PulseWave price trigger reports. We put them right in your hand each and every day that the markets are open. All right, so here we are. We are on Thursday. Some abysmal numbers came out. 3 million people filing for the unemployment benefits as of last week. The unemployment rates keep climbing. That's why I titled today's pre-market PulseScan, Jobless in America. How are you supposed to eat when you ain't got no job, Tommy? All right? Y'all remember that from Martin? Tommy, you ain't got no job. Well, now you'll be able to say that to yourself. You ain't got no job. They are coming for those jobs with a vengeance. How do you expect for everything to go back the way it was when there's nothing left to go back to? You can't. All right? That's what they've done. They've shut down the economy. Why did they do it? Because they can. Were they trying to help you and your family? Absolutely not. Did they care if you had food on your table? Absolutely not. Hold on. I got a message coming up. Okay. My man Frank wants me to let y'all know that we have a free preview coming up for our Plus and Pro members. And it is going to be a surprise that we got going on. And he wanted me to remind the premium members. So that's Plus and Pro members. Anyone who is a Plus and a Pro member at PulseWaveTrading.com, we got a big old surprise coming for you. One that is going to make people jealous. All right. So we got something for you coming up. All right. With that being said, let's move right on. All right. So we got millions of people out of work, and the sheeple are just letting it roll down their backs like a duck. They don't seem to be too moved by it. Let me show you what I mean. Because at the end of the day, this is all that matters is price. Look at your Dow up 309 points, trading at 23,822. Look at your NASDAQ up 132 and a quarter points at 90.85 half. Look at your E-mini S&P 500 at 42 points at 28.75 half. Look at your Russell. It is up 23.8 points at 1279.1. I liquidated. I am now flat in the Russell till the market decides what it wants to do. Your Bitcoin futures composite index up 125 bucks at 94.65. It did test that 9,500 again. It hit 95.05 in the overnight, but not before dropping to 91.05. Massive trading range in your Bitcoin futures composite index. Taking a look now at your nat gas, it is up 3 cents at $1.97. Your crude oil is up a whopping $2.20, trading at $26.20 a barrel. So it is strengthening. That's why they didn't want nobody to play there. Taking a look at your long bond. Long bond is up 25 30 seconds at 179.15 30 seconds. Gold is still confused. It is up $10.80, but we're trading below 1,700. We're at 16.99 and 20 cents right now. The overnight high was 17.03 and the overnight low was 16.83.9. Taking a look now at your silver. Silver finally gets above $15. That's right. Finally got above 15 bucks. We're trading at $15.25, up 24 cents right now. We got a bullish 2-bar Charlie on silver. All right, so we're expecting an all-day up day and for the market to close in the green. Taking a look at the US dollar index, it is still above par. It's up 8 pips right now. Euro is off 10 pips, trading at 108.03. Pound sterling is down 11 pips at 123.36. And your Aussie is up 34 pips at 64.51. It's been having a real tough time staying above 65. Taking a look at your CAD now. Canadian dollars down 67 pips at 140.77. Still hugging that 140-ish level. Looking at your euro yen, it is up 35 pips, but still weak overall because it couldn't hold that 116 line. We're at 114.89. Looking at your yen, dollar yen right now is up 37 pips at 106.46. Switching over to food. We are now up 5 3/4 points in your beans, trading at 8.38 1/4. Corn is up 3 1/4 points at 3.17.5. And your wheat is up 6 points at 5.23.5. It finally got back up to the 5.20 range after dropping before, getting low in the teens. So wheat is trying to hang in there, but like I told you, wheat has been acting sort of like the S&P 500, a little confused, trading in these wide whipsaw ranges, and that's what the markets are giving you right now. So you do have some volatility to work with, which is a good thing for those that have the time and or ability to sit in front of their computer all day. If you have that wherewithal, then more power to you, player. Play on. But for the rest of it, you're going to have to pick and choose carefully. All right? So this is where we are right now. All right? Not too much going on. Yeah, I don't believe that, MAGA. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I don't think he's sitting on. He lies too much, man. Remember, they always tell you something when it's convenient for them or way after the fact. He could have just bought another company and not saying nothing about it. He's just waiting. All right, they release information that they want to release. And because he is such the darling, he's the big teddy bear of finance. No one really gives him a hard time. If you notice, have you ever heard any negative press on him? Not one. According to them, though, you see that pretty much everything he says is golden, and he never loses money. All right, to hear them tell it, the man never loses money at all. Never lost money on an investment. He's always right. We know that is impossible. All right, for anyone to do. Even as powerful as the pulse waves are, I still cannot claim 100% accuracy. I can claim about 99.9, but I can't say 100. Can't say 100. Nobody can say 100. All right. But I'll say 99.9 for the pulse waves. How about that? It's just one of those things, folks. All right. So where does that leave us? Where does that leave us? Well, I got some info for ya. All right. So peep this. This is what we got. All right. So here is our news regarding these markets. All right. So first and foremost, look who it is at the top of the list. Warren Buffett is too pessimistic about airlines' coronavirus recovery, Southwest CEO says. So now the airline industry is clapping back because he took his money out of their coffers. The famed investor dumped his stakes in Southwest and other carriers in April, partly because he wasn't sure that demand for air travel would rebound. You don't need to be an economist to figure that one out. Good grief, I told you that. I told you the airlines have been the suckiest investment for a long time. You'd be better off betting on opening a new restaurant in a highly densely competitive area where there's already 120 restaurants. You would fare better putting your money in that than to go into these airline stocks. And look, put it this way: have you ever heard me talk about doing anything in some airline stock? Have you? Have you? No, and you won't. Bank of England warns UK economy could contract by 30% in the first half as coronavirus hammers activity. Again, it is not the coronavirus. The way that they are writing these articles is like, okay, so the coronavirus did this, the coronavirus did that. Nope, sorry. We have closed circuit TV and we have the culprit on video. The culprit name is shutdown. The culprit shut down the economy and ran away with all the money. All right, Corona didn't do it. Corona was home, sleep in bed. All right, not bothering anybody. All right, it was your government that shut down the economy that is causing your companies to suffer. When is anyone going to wake up and say that instead of towing the corporate line of saying that because of the coronavirus, we went out of business? No, you did not. To suggest that would be to suggest that everyone in your country woke up and called out sick for 3 months. That did not happen. They were told they could not go to work under the pain of imprisonment, fines, and or death. Why do I say death? Because what happens when you buck up against authority, the frontline authority, someone in uniform? What happens? Based on what that person is going through in their personal life, what kind of day they're having, if they feel that their job sucks, you may get shot for, what do they say? Resisting arrest. I felt threatened. All an officer has to say now is, I felt threatened. I felt my life was in danger. But the person didn't have a gun. Yeah, but I still felt my life was in danger, so I had to shoot him. That's what happens. You could get shot for being caught out of bounds. All right. So it's the man that caused your economy to contract, not the coronavirus. Let's not get it twisted. Can't blame that on the coronavirus. The coronavirus did not shut down the economy. You chose to shut down the economy in response to the coronavirus because you were so shook by a coronavirus that you thought you needed to panic and shut down the entire country. And you told people they couldn't go to work. And that's why I told you to vote the bums out of office in November if we even have elections this year. All right? That's what you need to do. Vote every Republican and Democrat out of office. Now, that's not really going to do anything at the end of the day, but it will shake things up and buy us some time and cause them to lose a lot of momentum. So if we can get every Republican and Democrat out of office, we will be good. We'll be good to go. And here's all you have to do. Pick a independent person who's running for all these different offices. And even if they drop out of the race, just cross the other people's name out and write their name in. Right? That's all you got to do. And I guarantee you it would totally upset the system. They wouldn't know what to do. And you would have them by the throat because they only have really two options. All right. The first option is outright theft, fraud, and lies. where they would say, okay, they would pick one. They wanted to say that the Democrat or Republican won the race, ha ha ha, which we would all know would be a lie because the American people voted for the independent candidate that dropped out of the race. Because that's always how it goes down. You never see an independent running against a Republican or a Democrat for a presidential race at the end. It's always one Democrat and one Republican. Why is that? So all you got to do is cross their name out, write in the independent person, and we'd be good to go. We would be good to go. All right? That would shake things up, and we'd be good to go. Matter of fact, what you should probably do, like I said, it would shake things up, and it would really expose them too. If everyone just crossed out whoever the presidential candidates are running and select Ron Paul. Just say, I want Ron Paul to be president. So if we have an election this year, you vote for Ron Paul, even though he's not running. And let's see what will happen then. I can tell you exactly what would happen. It would shake the whole system up. It would shake it to its core because the American people would have spoken. But because those in power like to stay in power and they don't give up power easily, they would either lie and say, whatever candidate they wanted won, or they would have to come clean and say, this is unprecedented. The American people have voted for Ron Paul, who isn't even running. Behind closed doors, they would lean on him like they leaned on him before when he wanted to audit the Fed, and he would bow out gracefully and say, I appreciate the American people's enthusiasm, but I have no I don't have any passion or zeal to be president. I don't want to run. I don't want to take the job, and I'm bowing out. That's what would happen. And then they would still get to install whoever they want. But it would shake things up enough though. And that's what we want. We know we can't beat them at this point. There's not a whole lot we can do because they have so many apparatus that can really hurt us. They've already proven that if they want to, they can shut down an entire country and prevent people from moving or even going outside under the pain of death. So this is a situation. Now, what if the American people, like my man Tony said, what if they don't vote? What if no one votes? They would still just enact some kind of archaic some rule that no one's even heard of and say, well, because the people didn't vote and because the people elected us to represent them, I have voted on behalf of my state and I vote for whoever. That's how that would go. All of the Democratic states would vote for the Democrat. All the Republican states would vote for the Republican, and whoever had the most votes at the end would just go ahead and win. So they would vote for us in a situation like that if we chose not to vote at all. And like I say, the deck has already been stacked. Don't think that they haven't planned for every contingency, because they have. But it would at least send a clear message that the American people are now woke and know what's going on and are not just going to take it laying down. You're just not going to absorb all those body blows. All right, you're going to start clapping back. Okay. So anyway, just something to think about. I put the bug in your ear. Now it's up to you to do what you're going to do with it. Documents show the UK may re-engineer its contact tracing app to work with Google and Apple's technology. The UK previously said it would not use the specially released Apple Google API as it would mean promising to keep user data decentralized. Well, again, see how the good old boys club operates? Notice how they said Google and Apple, as if Google and Apple are the only tech companies in the world. Google and Apple are not the only tech companies in the world. So why is the UK only talking about using them and only talking to them? Huh? And we know what Google and Apple have been up to. So why are they talking to them? And again, your government claims to be for the people, by the people. It's not looking out for you. It's looking out for its own interests and how it can stay in power. Because right now, you know what they're preparing for? See, you are preparing just to go outside and play. You want to go to the playground. You want to go to the park. You're just tired of looking at the four walls. You just want out. You just want to go outside, and whatever it takes that you can go outside, then that's good. But see, while you're planning what ball you guys are going to play with when you go outside, are you going to play Foursquare? Are you gonna play two square? Are you gonna play dodgeball? Or we used to call it back in fifth grade, bombardment. Are you gonna play bombardment? Are you gonna play soccer? Are you gonna play kickball? Are you gonna play football? Are you gonna play basketball? What are you gonna do with the ball when y'all get outside? Which jungle gym you gonna play on? Are y'all gonna play tag? Are y'all gonna play hide and go get it? Oops, did I say that live on the air? That's what you're thinking about. All right. What they're thinking about is, okay, so our timeline is around 6 to 8 months before we go full throttle with civil unrest worldwide. According to our analysis, it's going to start over here first in Europe, most likely in France, because France is notorious for the off with their head philosophy. So they're going to riot first. Then we see it spreading over into Spain, and throughout the UK will be next. Then, of course, believe it or not, we're seeing a rise already in the Philippines. So I think right now, we can expect, according to the trajectory of the outburst and outrage, that we will probably be at full throttle within the next 6 to 8 months. And I think that people will be standing outside with machetes and pitchforks, and they will be screaming off with their heads. So I think what we should do, Mr. President, I think what we should do, Madam Queen, we should go and we should start deleting the outspoken people off of the internet. I think we should scrub them off of social media. And by doing this, we take away their voice box. All right. It's sort of like, the throat move when you rip a person's throat out. We should go ahead and do that, because then they don't have a platform. Then no one's going to hear their rhetoric and be hypnotized by it. And I think this will be very effective. I think this is what we should do. And I think instead of opening up the country like this, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll open up the country, but we'll put everybody under a curfew. And we won't call it a curfew, and we won't even explain it that way. We'll say that we have new evidence to suggest that when the sun goes down, coronavirus comes out of the closet. It comes out of the shadows. It comes out of the forest, and it pursues you. And if it catches you outside, it's going to jump into your body and swim in your bloodstream and kill you. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. And I think it'll work, Madam Queen, Mr. President. Yes, I think I like that. I think that's very wise. I'm glad we have you on the payroll. Thank you, Mr. Musk. Oh, President, just call me Elon. Okay, thank you, Elon. Um, and thank you, Mr. Gates, for your input as well. Notice how this is going to play out. This is exactly how this is going to play out. All right. Make no mistakes about it. They're planning to stay in power. They're planning how they can control you. They want to control you. All right. Qatar Airways is in talks with banks for billions of dollars in loans. The state-owned carrier also said it would start reopening routes it was forced to abandon during the outbreak that virtually halted international travel. Qatar Airways. I don't believe this news piece. I just don't. I'll tell you what I think, though. If this news piece is true, it's only because they feel that they can get some free money from other sources, because the country is not struggling. The country is strong. It's one of the strongest countries on the planet. All right. Qatar and Oman, the whole Middle East region is very strong financially, and they are nowhere in no ways hurting. All right, so I don't think the story is really the heart of the story is accurate here. I think the truth of the matter is that they may be like, hey, since they're giving out money and all we've done for these central banks, they're going to give us some money too. I think that's probably more so like it. Italy to inject 3 billion euros in new Italia. The government will inject fresh capital in the ailing carrier Alitalia, which is being nationalized following financial problems. Nationalized. Nationalized. Is that new to us? Nope. This is what tyranny looks like. It nationalizes all the corporations into one big happy government. H&M sales fall 57% year on year in March through early May. Online sales alone grew 32% in the same period, the Swedish fashion retailer said. In Europe, Germany's DAX rose 0.8%, Britain's FTSE 100 rose 0.8%, and the Euro Stoxx 50 rose 0.7%. In Asia, China's Shanghai Composite fell 0.2%, Hong Kong's Hang Seng fell 0.6%, and Japan's Nikkei rose 0.3% at the close. And the U.S. futures, underlying the Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, they all rose between 1.2 and 1.4%. Earnings expected today is Bristol Myers, Enbridge, and Nintendo are highlights. Or how does Jim Cramer say it? Bristol Myers. So Bristol Myers is going to be reporting today. All right. So that's the pre-market news. We got the opening bell now, so things are pretty much on and popping. The equity markets are really looking really scary right now. I think they're really fattening up the hog for slaughter. If it doesn't happen between today and tomorrow, I think next week could be absolute carnage on Wall Street. All right. And there are a couple of reasons for that. I think that some truth is going to start to be digested about the global economies because people are still asleep. They still listen to the mainstream media, and it takes a little while longer for them to come to terms with reality. You can hide evidence, but you can't destroy facts and reality. What do I mean? They can lie about the coronavirus and scare you to death, right? But you can't hide the fact that it is not the Black Death. Millions of people have not died like they told you they would. They haven't. Those are facts. New coronavirus cases surge to the highest level in 2 weeks. Did you know that? We are in trouble, folks, in the global economy. Now, here's what it really breaks down to. As far as America is concerned, supposedly 73,400 people dead. But you got 33 million people jobless. But stocks are soaring. 33 million jobless people in America. I remember back in the day, 2 million people filing for unemployment was considered a paranormal, supernatural event. All right. But no one's batting an eye at 33 million. Really? Really? I'm telling you, man, this thing is getting scurrier and scurrier by the minute. When are people going to wake the heck up? Hmm? That's all I got to say. At some point, you're going to have to deal with it. Okay? You're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to. All right. I see you there in the live chat. No, I have not seen Plandemic yet. I have not. I do intend to watch it though. Now that you said that, hadn't really heard about that until you just said something in the live chat. So good looking out. I will peep it. I will see what's up. It looks like it's all of that. Looks like it went viral. This is very. It looks like it's gonna. It looks like it's incredible. But I have so much information and stuff. I have so many vids. I've been keeping a log on this because I think that we're gonna look back on this and it's gonna be a big deal. All right, I think it's gonna be a big deal. And so what I am doing is I've been building like, a catalog, if you will, so that when we look back years from now and talk about this, after everything's been scrubbed and deleted off the internet and off of everything else, I'll have my archives that I can say, that's not correct. Here you go. Here you go. Here's this. Here's that. I do that. I build these folders with all types of stuff in it. I have a market folder where I have documentaries and things like that in there, and I have a lot of stuff from all the big market crashes going all the way back to 1929, 1987. You get to hear the people talk and explain to people who were there. I got all types of old stuff from the 80s and even earlier than that. So that's some powerful stuff, man. Most of which, unfortunately, have been deleted off the internet. All right. So you have to ask yourself, why is that, right? All right. So let's go a little bit deeper. I don't know where I'm going to start, but I did promise you that we will be dealing strictly with the economy. Yesterday was all about COVID-19. Today it's going to be about these markets and about this economy. I think it's time. Yeah, I do, but I'm gonna peep that pandemic though. I'm gonna peep that. I'm gonna definitely peep that. Yeah, I got some stuff. I don't know how long. See, that's another thing too. I don't know how long these lives last. It's like these pre-market post scans have become like a radio show or something, you know. So I gotta give the people what they want. All right. So I think now I've told you where the end result is, right? We can at least go there. We can at least start there. I've warned where this is heading. I have warned where we're going. So we all know at the end of the day what time it is, right? We know where this is heading. We know different things. So I'm just gonna point out this will be a hodgepodge of, this economy. I don't know how much of this I'll be able to get through today. Hopefully we won't have another 3-hour long live like we did yesterday. Because I do have some things I need to get done with the system. I want to prepare for this major rollover that we're about to see in these markets. All right, so why don't we start here? Y'all ready? Let me get a drink of water. All right. Here we go. U.S. Navy sends warships into Russia's Gulf of Mexico for first time since the Cold War. Now, I have warned everyone here that the end result was going to be warfare. I told you that. I tried to tell you for a minute. The U.S. has decided that the right time to stage its first operations in the far northern Barents Sea since the Cold War is while itself and much of the globe remains locked down by a pandemic. I'm just going to start calling it plandemic. I think that sounds better. U.S. Navy surface ships have not operated in the Barents since the mid-1980s. U.S. Naval Forces Europe said in a statement Monday announcing the start of operations there. The start of operations there. Underline the word operations. 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 Allied and partner navies must remain proficient in all operating environments to ensure the continued security and access to the seas. Why do you need to be over there, Mr. Trump, Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces? Why are you over there? Why are you playing volleyball in another man's backyard? All right. 3 destroyers, USS Donald Cook, USS Porter, and USS Roosevelt, along with a combat support ship, USNS Supply, sailed through the sea just north of Finland and Russia and within the Arctic Circle in an area considered Russia's backyard. Their American ships were also joined by the United Kingdom's HMS. I will ask the question again. Why are you playing volleyball in another man's backyard? What is wrong with you? All right. Now, this is on the back of something. See, the United States is acting right now like the most wicked country of all time. No one talks about America in America like that. They all talk as if America is high and holy and everything it does is just and right. And they're doing God's work. But which God's work are you doing? Because according to them, our government is satanic and Luciferian in nature. All right. They've already admitted as such. So why are we playing around these games and playing with words? Let's just go ahead and spill it and tell the truth. This news piece is coming on the back of the president denying U.S. involvement in Venezuelan coup plot after American mercenaries were captured in Venezuela. Why are American mercenaries being captured in Venezuela? What are we doing in Venezuela? Venezuela is not a state. The last time I checked, I couldn't just get in my car and drive to Venezuela because we are separated by much. What is going on here? What's going on? All right. We're going to get there. First things first. Russian media underscored the Kremlin viewed the rare maneuvers as particularly provocative given the Barents Sea is Russia's equivalent of the Gulf of Mexico to the U.S., sitting between its major Arctic ports and the North Pole. See, once again, why are we over there starting problems? Why are we trying to incite a war? We know, you know good and well If Russia ships were spotted in the Gulf of Mexico, it would be all over the news. Mainstream media would be like, this is incredible. This is incredible. This is an act of war. They're trying to invade. But yet when we go over there, oh, it's right and just because we're the United States. We have on white gowns. We are the Pope. We are the police of the world. We're better than everyone in the world. We are smarter than everyone else in the world. And we're holy. We are holy and God ordained. We are the prophet. And whatever we say and do is gospel. When we speak, it is as if it's coming out of the mouth of God himself. I do not think so. America was never anointed as priest and king over the world. That was never the intention. When the founding fathers came over here, that was not what they was trying to do. It was not to take over the world. They wanted to be left alone. They wanted a republic. All right. That's what they wanted. And that's what they built. That's what they got. All right. So now how do we go from that to going over to Russia and pricking a hornet's nest? Why? Why? Because they're, I told you, this whole thing stinks to high heaven. The motives behind all of this were never made clear to the American people. We're just being told we got to lock down, shut down because the Black Death is ravaging the world. Well, if it's so scary and we need to social distance, why doesn't social distancing apply to the military? That doesn't make any sense. It is contradictory at its core. Therefore, not only is it contradictory, but if something is contradictory, it is also a lie. Because when you stick thousands of men on a ship, there is no way you can social distance and be 6 feet apart at all times. There is no way. How in the world are you able to send battleships anywhere? And wherever there's battleships, there's also submarines. How can you stick your soldiers in there if the Black Death is everywhere, if it's on every surface, if people are walking around and they don't even know that they have it? Why are you sticking all of your soldiers and putting them in harm's way? So it's not bad enough that you're putting them in harm's way because they have to be, up on each other's grill because there's no space. You ever been aboard a ship or a submarine? Do you know how claustrophobic we're talking here? And yet it's okay. So the military is immune to COVID-19? I thought it was the Black Death. I thought everyone is infected and they don't even know they're infected. So you're trying to tell me that no one in the military has COVID-19. That's why you can send out all these ships. That's why you can play around with these war games. Huh? We already got boots on the ground in the United States. We got military apparatus in the United States. Boots on the ground. It started out in New York. Boots on the ground. I thought COVID was the Black Death and you couldn't go outside and you need to social distance. So why don't the military and the police have to stay inside too? You would think that if this was the Black Death that they were claiming that it is, nobody would be going outside because everybody would be shook. Everyone would be walking around in these space suits and hazmat suits. All right? Afraid to even breathe the regular air. But no, you're hearing now that the military has been going overseas, being a provocateur of war, trying to get Russia to fire the first missile so that they can have an excuse to hit back. But then they'll say, well, my mama told me if somebody hits you, you're supposed to hit them back. But they're the ones that's over there starting problems. All right? You broke into this man's house in the middle of the night. while him and his wife and children were sleeping. The dog bit you. You didn't know that they had a German Shepherd, a Rottweiler, and a Pit Bull inside. And when you came in the house, you got chewed up. All right? And then when the man woke up and heard the commotion, he came downstairs and he poked you up with his knife. So you got poked up, chewed up. Now you're in court because you want to sue because you were injured on his property. What kind of foolishness is that? Well, that's what the U.S. is doing. They're over there in Russia's Gulf of Mexico, and here they are, knowing that that is restricted space, and they're over there trying to provocateur a conflict because war is a racket, because the central banks make oodles of money off of war. That's why they're over there doing it. What in the fraggernacle is happening around here? Huh? Come on, somebody explain this to me. What in the Fraggle Rock is happening around here? All right, so I'm being asked now about the Bitcoin. I know those of you who are subscribers to the most powerful system in the world, the PulseWave Price Trigger Reports, you are long this market now. So we're going to take a break from the news just for a split second, and I'm going to pull up a chart for you of the Bitcoin, and then I will explain to you what you are to do next. All right, so give me 1 second to pull it all up here for you, and then we will go in, and then we will get back to the news because we have a lot more to discuss today, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so here is what is happening. I will be using the futures composite index. So as you can see, the market is having a go at the 9,500 handle, which is the same number I gave you as our next point of resistance. Okay, this is where we are. All right, that 9,500. If the market closes above 9,500, then the next spot that we're going to go is 10,000. Once it hits 10,000, it should hit an acceleration zone up to about 11.5. All right, that's how this works. Now, you're going to have to be nimble because the market's moving great. If you have a lot of equity in this trade, all right, because this trade has been pretty productive, go ahead and start popping. All right, you guys who know what I'm talking about, if it were me and if it were me long in this one, which I am not at the moment, I would start popping my way through it, and I would use the conservative approach, not the aggressive pop. I would use the conservative pop. That's what I would do. But what you need to do, take the conservative pop, compare it with your entry point. All right. And if that is not locking enough in, then go ahead and use, actually, there's really no difference. There's not much difference right now at this point in time between the aggressive and the conservative pop. So you might have to do a little something special here. It's up to you. If it were me, I probably, just for now, I would probably at least move my stop to break even. But no, I wouldn't. I'm lying. I'd probably be getting out and taking profit right now, but that's just me. But y'all could do what you want. But since you're asking me, I'm just going to tell you, it's a mixture between break even and your conservative pop. Conservative pop will give this market time to work itself out between now and Sunday at 6 p.m. A close above 9,500 by 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday is a super bullish momentum sign. That means your next target is going to be 11.5. All right. Do you follow what I am saying to you? Right now, what I would do, because I don't know where some people got filled at. I don't know if you followed the system to a key, or if you did something synthetic. If you follow the system to a T, then what you need to do is go ahead and use the conservative pop. All right? The conservative pop. All right? Give me a second here for sale. Let me see. Hold on. Let me put something here. Because something tells me you guys are really not understanding what I am saying to you. So I'm going here to the trading room. And Frank, I'm sending you a message so that you can relay it. All right. Here you go. Okay. Okay. All right. So I just went ahead and typed that in there for you, Frank. All right. Yeah, I know you wasn't, player. I know you wasn't. I know you wasn't. All right. You wasn't getting the code, man. You wasn't getting the code. I was talking to you in code. Player, wake up. Go get some coffee or something. All right, go get some coffee or something, man. Wake up. All right, back to the article. I'll leave the Bitcoin thing up for y'all. All right, I'll leave that up for you. All right, okay, so where do we leave off? Okay, the U.S. Sixth Fleet additionally announced it demonstrates readiness to assert freedom of navigation and demonstrate seamless integration among allies, as well as to maintain our steady drumbeat of operations across the European theater. Sorry, there's no such thing as freedom. Funny how they like to play with words. Freedom of navigation, really? We don't have freedom of navigation because right now we're not free to navigate our behinds outside nowhere. We are not free to assemble. We are not free to go to church. We're not free to do jack. And you want to talk about freedom of navigation? So freedom only applies to the military? Is that what you're saying? The elite have freedom of navigation, but we don't? It also significant and very noticeable that in a tweet issued via the Sixth Fleet's official Twitter account, the Navy used the hashtag open for business. Of course you are. You want a war. At this point, at least 4 U.S. Navy aircraft carriers, the USS Theodore Roosevelt, the USS Ronald Reagan, the USS Carl Vinson, and the USS Nimitz, have reported cases of coronavirus crimping their operations. You don't say. You don't say. So who is running the country? Gosh, that's an idiot thing to do. I just finished talking before we went to the Bitcoin chart. I just finished questioning and asking the question, are you saying that the military is built out of something totally different to the point where they don't get sick? They don't have to practice social distancing, but we do. They can go outside, but we can't. Now here it is. Oh, all of your battleships basically that you called into active service. Now you got all these coronavirus things going on because you got people in what? Close quarters. Really, really, dude? See, if this does not expose who's running things right now, the central banks want this to happen. So this is how it should go. We should demand that any type of military action, no matter what kind of euphemism they want to use for it, I don't care if they call it a police action, a war, whatever you want to call it should be mandated that the president of the United States, his cabinet, every congressman, every senator has to be on the ship with them, and they need to be on the front lines. No more sending other people's sons and daughters to war. Nope. If you work at the central bank under any capacity, the Federal Reserve, and all the powers that be, you need to get your behind on a ship, and you need to put a gun in your hands, and you need to be the first one to fire the first shot. Since you guys are so blood hungry, so bloodthirsty, put a weapon in their hand, and they need to go out there first. The president should put on some army greens, and he should be out there with and the front lines with his men. That's how this needs to go. All right. Since y'all want to go to war, every congressman needs to be out there with you. Every senator, everyone who voted for this to go into war, for doing any kind of military action, they need to go there and lead the charge straight up. I would like to see that. I would like to see that. That's that, and it should be law. That way, I guarantee you, they won't be voting to go to war so easily. The central bank won't be trying to go to war so easily. That's right. You make the Fed chairman put on a military outfit, and they have to go and fight. Nah, you know what? Nah, that's a good one about making their kids go fight, but nah, it's not good enough, because some of them have little teeny kids. They're not grown kids. No, I don't want that to happen, because some of them are so cold and narcissistic, they wouldn't care if their sons and daughters fought. Some of them do have their sons and daughters in the military, believe it or not. But I want them to go to war. If you vote to go to war and you're in the House or the Senate, you have to put on your army greens, put on your combat boots, your helmet, grab your M16, and get your behind on the front line. They should be law. They got to be in infantry. They got to be infantry. They don't get to be a commander in chief. Nope, not happening. You got to go infantry. You cannot be out of harm's way. You must be direct in harm's way. You must lead the charge, because you want to go to war. Straight up. That's how this goes down. Because right now we got some poo putt marshmallow soft wimps in office that want to send you and your children to war, but they won't pick up a firearm and go to war themselves. That's right. Yep, Nancy Pelosi would have to go too. She would have to. You have to Hey, feminism is alive and well. Women can go too. Yep, they can carry a rucksack, an 80-pound rucksack too. Go ahead, get them a rucksack, get them an 80-pound rucksack, and have them go out there with their M16 front line too. Front line, infantry, no other MOS, but infantry. Front line, infantry. That's where you're going, infantry. Straight up. That's how this should go. You know what? I bet you we have world peace then. If it was a law that everyone who wants to go to war has to first put all of their leaders in the front lines. Straight up. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. It's like things go over people's head, but you're right, student of history. USA carriers off the coast of Britain and Europe. Yep. You heard right. Most notably, the Roosevelt had over a month ago been diverted from its original mission to the West Pacific, and now has over 1,000 sailors that have tested positive for COVID-19. You heard it right. 1,000 1,000 sailors have tested positive for COVID-19. What did you think? See, this proves that the central banks don't give a darn about anybody but themselves. They hate you. They even hate those that go to war for them. Every war is a banker's war, and they don't care about you, soldier. They just sent you over there knowing that you would be exposed to COVID-19. So now you got double jeopardy. As a soldier, you're trying not to get shot or blown up, but now you got to also fight against a virus that you can't see. You're trying to protect yourself against COVID also? Man, come on, man. Does this make any sense to you guys whatsoever? And furthermore, than 24 warships at port have crew with coronavirus infections. The U.S. Navy is now so desperate to keep the outbreak from further damaging operational readiness that it's keeping warships with crew deemed clean, that is completely free of coronavirus cases, deployed for an additional length of time with no port calls and no deployment end date amid a worsening crisis aboard other ships. You see how they do you? This right here, I don't see how this is not opening up people's eyes. The central bank does not love you. Your country don't even love you. They put you together knowing full well that you would contract the coronavirus. Now, to say thank you for doing such a good job for Uncle Sam, more like Uncle Tom Sam, they're going to now keep you deployed. You're not coming to port, and you have no deployment end date. Gone are the days of 6 months at sea. Try 6 years at sea, or for the rest of your life at sea. You ain't coming to port. You ain't going to see land. And they don't care that it's keeping you away from your wife and children or your husband and children. They don't give a darn about you. They don't love you. Matter of fact, on a hot mic, you can hear Uncle Sam saying, "Yeah, I got a lot of military personnel, but I don't love them hoes. I don't love them hoes." That's what they're saying, and he's saying it while he's crip walking to Snoop Dogg. Yeah, I got soldiers, but we don't love them, no. Straight up, this is messed up. Certainly, these latest deployments right off Russia's doorstep are meant to send a clear signal to American rivals, but could also be taken in Moscow and Beijing and act as an act of desperation given the COVID-19 situation on the U.S. domestic front. I'm telling you, the U.S. is about to implode, people. It is sick with no cure in sight. Now, this is what they're doing while everybody else is locked in and trapped in the house. That this has been going on. All right, but now while they're playing war games, again, thinking that their superiority gives them license to do whatever they want, here's what's happening to you. All right. On Tuesday afternoon, Trump told reporters at the White House he had no knowledge or involvement in the latest failed plot to oust Nicolas Maduro, which resulted in the capture and detention of 2 American former Special Forces soldiers, dubbed mercenaries by Maduro, who were involved in an apparent invasion from the sea, likely launched out of neighboring Colombia. President Donald Trump denies U.S. government involvement in what Venezuela's president says was an attempted overthrow in which 2 Americans were arrested. It has nothing to do with our government, Trump tells reporters at the White House. Yeah, but these guys are U.S. military. See, that's what they do, you guys. They send you in harm's way. They send you on a mission. And if you get caught, they deny that they even know you. They be like, "Psh, man, them knuckles ain't with me. I don't know them. I don't know them. Yeah, but they're U.S. Special Forces. I don't know them." See, this shows you how America's past is catching up with her. We have been doing this in the United States for decades, going over to other countries, toppling their government, assassinating their leadership, installing a puppet regime that we control. That's how the U.S. moves. All right. Two Americans identified as Luke Denman, 34, and Arian Berry, 41, are still reportedly in Venezuela detention and have been paraded in front of state TV. Maduro has since accused both Trump and Colombian President Ivan Duque of being behind the plot. An astounding and unexpected development, which is about to launch U.S. regime change efforts in Venezuela straight back into the headlines. U.S. regime change efforts, underline U.S. regime change efforts. What I say? U.S. regime change efforts. U.S. regime change efforts. Come on, put your hands together. Come on. That's what's going on here. It's the same old song. Same old song and dance, just a different set of dance partners. The Maduro government says it has captured two Americans who were leading a Rambo-style armed coup effort. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says two American mercenaries have been apprehended after a failed coup attempt launched over the weekend. In a live address on state television late Monday, Maduro brandished what he claimed were the U.S. passports and driver's licenses of the two men, along with what he said were their ID cards for Silver Corp, a Florida-based security services company. Stop right there. Silver Corp, a Florida-based security services company. Silver Corp, a Florida-based security service company. This may not be ringing a bell to you guys, but back a few years ago, I believe it was Dark Journalist, if my memory serves me correctly. I think it was Dark Journalist. I'm almost sure of it now. I think it was definitely Dark Journalist. Had a guy on who was explaining CIA movements and protocol. Had an ex-CIA guy on there. And he was explaining how they move and how they go about doing what they do. And one of the things that the CIA would always do is come up with a fake business. And I believe if my memory serves me correct, I think it was a toy shop that they had set up. And they would run their operations out of this toy company. And we know now, fast forward it to 2020, we know for a fact that the CIA, the U.S. government, the Pentagon, Department of Defense, whatever organization you want to put there, they have now gone the way of Fortune 500 companies and have now outsourced their labor. Just like Fortune 500 companies outsource their labor, the military industrial complex outsources their labor as well. You see, there's still laws that prevent our military, our U.S. armed forces, from doing certain things. But a private civilian technically can do whatever they want because they're not under such laws. So we call them private contractors. So private contract companies contract with the government and they get certain sweetheart deals. A lot of people who start these so-called firms are ex-government themselves. Some of them are ex-special forces. They could be even ex-CIA, ex-whatever. And they have deep roots and deep ties with the highest echelons of government. So they're able to get, in some cases, no bid contracts with the federal government to carry out operations in foreign countries, operations which include but are not limited to assassinating dignitaries. All right? They do a lot of things. I'm sure you guys by now have heard of the economic hitman interviews. All right. Yep. BlackRock used to be called Blackwater, but they're one of the biggest, but they're not the only ones. So this is not new to us. We know that they hire people like Silvercore, a Florida-based security services company. You see that has CIA written all over it. Silvercore, a Florida-based security services company. It's funny too. If my memory serves me correctly, the Dark Journalist interview, the ex-CIA guy mentioned that they set up shop in Florida. What is the irony of that? So here we are exposing another company located in Florida that is nothing more than a fake business to undergo, government activities. Security services. How is that security services when your people are overseas trying to execute somebody? Stop it. Silvercore, it must be remembered from our reporting days ago, based on the Associated Press, is a Florida-based private security firm founded by a former Green Beret soldier who hooked up with the Venezuelan military officer defectors for a half-baked armed invasion of the socialist country in order to overthrow Maduro. Former Green Beret soldier. Go ahead and underline that one. Airing photos of the men on state television, Maduro further described the pair were playing Rambo illegally in his country. Footage posted on Maduro's official Twitter account shows several unidentifiable men in a boat with their hands in the air and a helicopter overhead. The men in the boat were not identifiable in one video, but a separate photo more clearly depicted two men who Maduro claimed were American. One of the now detained men apparently even had a U.S. military ID on him. Now, I will say this too, though. What type of a dude takes their military ID card with them on a merc job to depose a foreign government? Who does that? You're going to take your ID with you on a job to dispose of a foreign government? Really? Really? That's not how you roll. No, not at all. If you get caught as a ghost. No ID, no dog tags, no cell phone, no nothing. Nothing that can identify you. They have to capture you and torture the information out of you. That's how that goes. This was mad sloppy. But this just lets you know how desperate our government has become, our military has become. That they're willing to hire any clown who thinks they know how to go out here and do stuff. They don't care if they mess up or do it sloppily. They don't care. They don't care if they get caught because everyone knows the rule of the game. If you get caught, we don't know you. Everybody knows that. Everybody. But the government will they'll use clowns. They do what they got to do. They'll use clowns. Yes, they will. Because they figured that if they do get caught, no one will believe the story. So you guys understand there are psychiatrists on the payroll of the government also. You don't plan missions and do stuff without going checking every checking dotting every I and crossing every T. All right. They already knew that they already planned for all of the different contingencies. So they said, okay, so if we use Clown Incorporated to go over here and oust this foreign dictator, if they get caught and mess up, which they probably will, that's why we selected them in the first place. We know them to be clowns. No one will believe the story. They'll think it's fake news because it won't make sense because they'll have their ID and stuff on them. But then on the other hand, how do you know that they weren't told to do that? Because again, this is a psychological thing. Remember, our government is masterful at propaganda and social engineering and psychological Vulcan mind meld tricks and Jedi mind tricks. How do you know they didn't prepare these IDs and stuff? Because that's what they wanted people to think, because they knew that this was like a suicide type of a mission, and that if you get caught, we want to be able to spin it in the media as fake news. So we want you to have your IDs and dog tags and stuff on you, so that if you are caught, it will be unbelievable because they'll say, "Who moves this sloppy?" Because they know that real, black budget, black ops operations, they move in silence, and you rarely hear of their mistakes because they cover those up very well. So they said, okay, we have to do it this way. We're going to do it this way because we have to now spin the fake news. So they send in their actors to go in there. Basically, you're just an actor, or your job is literally to get caught because they want you to think that this is a botched attempt when in actuality they're planning something different. So it's like they have to create a diversion. Not necessarily saying and let you know that they're coming for you, but they have to do a diversion to get you all on alert and get you all super nervous so that you don't look and understand the obvious that's right in front of your face. What we probably don't know is that the real team that is there to do whatever has been there for a minute and already blended in and gained some some respect and trust. So while everybody's on high alert now looking for someone to come with guns and shoot and assassinate the president or whatever, no, that's not how they move. That's messy. That is real messy. That is not what they do. Mm-mm. Nope. They have different ways of doing things. What they would normally do is make it look like an accident or that you died of natural causes. All right. Remember, we got weapons and we got technology. We can make dude die of a heart attack and no one will be the wiser. Or he can catch a special version of coronavirus and die. They'll say, oh, he died of coronavirus. All right. I just want y'all to know that this is what's up. All right. Yeah, man, that whole Q thing is also not what people think it is either. All right. That is a controlled psyop in and of itself. If you really look into the whole Q thing, you'll realize that it has some shady backing. Okay. So yeah, this whole thing is pretty slick when you really break it down, because everybody knows that people don't usually move that sloppy unless they're doing it on purpose because they want to take your attention away from something else. All right. So this is a diversion. All right. So now we talked about what our government's been up to while everybody's been locked down, but now we need to get back to, I told you we were going to deal with the economy and these markets. So I need to do that. All right. So let's get in there. All right. All right, here we go. First and foremost, biblical wave of bankruptcies is about to flood the U.S. One of the silver linings of the corona crisis to date is that despite the unprecedented collapse in the broader economy and the 30 or so million unemployed, the pace of bankruptcy filings has been relatively steady compared to the pre-COVID levels, as the following Goldman chart shows. But wait a minute. I thought you couldn't really do anything with the courts because the courts are closed. How are people able to file for bankruptcy? How? That's impossible. The courts are closed. Interesting. And we haven't even barely started the article. Unfortunately, the relative calm is not meant to last because, as we observed last Monday, Moody's recently expanded its B3 negative and lower list, which soared to its highest tally ever, 311 companies. That tops a former peak of 291 companies. Okay, we're talking about companies, not individuals. Okay. Reached during the credit crisis of 2009 and the commodity-related downturn in April 2016 at 20.7% of the total rated spec grade population. The list also shot up above its long-term average of 14.8% and closing in on its all-time high of 26.1%. This spike is the result of the confluence of a coronavirus outbreak plunging oil prices and mounting recessionary conditions, which created severe and extensive credit shocks across many sectors, regions, and markets, the effects of which are unprecedented. And it's not just junk. A record number of investment grade names have been also, or are about to be cut to junk, unleashing the long-awaited flood of fallen angels. The signaling from the rating agencies also remains negative, with a large portion of triple B debt on negative outlook. Of course, downgrades first to junk and then to deep junk are just the first step in a painful voyage which ends with bankruptcy. And while many borrowers are actively pulling levers to preserve cash by cutting payrolls, capex, and dividends, in some cases, even these drastic actions are not enough to avoid failures. Indeed, as the latest default tracker from Bank of America shows, there has already been a surge in recently defaulted names and deeply distressed names, with April default surging to $17 billion, while another $27 billion in issues now on the bank's default watch list ensures that that are currently in grace period for missed payment, recently initiated distress exchanges, or other actions that could lead to potential default. And finally, an additional $25 billion in deep distress, whose bonds are currently trading below 50 cents on the dollar and have experienced price plunge by 50% from their maximum price within the last 6 months. Whoa. Whoa. Recent defaulted and distressed names, starting with McDermott. It filed for bankruptcy. Chesapeake Energy, distressed exchange. Tapstone Energy, forbearance agreement. Whiting Petroleum, bankruptcy. Hornick Offshore, bankruptcy. Going to Telecoms, Frontier Communications, bankruptcy. Diamond Offshore, bankruptcy. Virgin Australia Holding, bankruptcy. LSC Communicated, bankruptcy. Quorium Health, bankruptcy. Intelsat Jackson, grace period for missed payment. Chesapeake Energy Corp, considering preparing filing. Hertz Corp, hired advisors. J.C. Penney's, grace period for missed payment. Neiman Marcus, considering preparing and filing. Envision Healthcare, considering preparing and filing. Guitar Center Escrow. This is up your alley, Mr. Frank. Guitars. Guitar Center Escrow. Grace period for missed payment. American Energy Permian. Grace period for missed payment. Jonah Energy LLC. Grace period for missed payment. Ultra Resources. Grace period for missed payment. Northwest Acquisitions. It's a metals company. It's in the metal sector. Insolvency protection filing. Whoa, I would hate to be owners and shares of that stock. Plantronics Inc. Deferred payments. Revlon Cosmetics initiated DE. Midas grace period for missed payment. Codier deferred payments. Now here is the largest, most distressed names. Chesapeake Energy, Noble Holding, Valeris, Hertz, SM Energy, JCPenney, Neighbors, Diamond Offshore, California Resource, and AMC Entertainment. Wow. G. Willikers, Batman. Those are some big names. Finally, if the following from Deutsche Bank's Torsten Slok is any indication, the wave of Chapter 11 bankruptcies are about to go parabolic. Conversation is changing from liquidity to solvency. That is about to flood the U.S. will be nothing short of biblical. And none other than the CEO of the world's biggest asset manager confirmed as much. Speaking on a call with clients, Larry Fink, who runs the $7.5 trillion BlackRock, said that bankers told him they expect a cascade of bankruptcies to hit the American economy. Yeah, I don't see the Dow going much higher myself personally. There you go. Now let's go deeper, boys and girls. Are you ready to go deeper? Do you want to go deeper? Because we need to do it. We need to go there. We need to go there. I told you I'm not letting up. Here's the Achilles heel of the Fed's ETF buying program. Dun, dun, dun. Last Friday, Bank of America. We keep hearing that Bank of America. We keep hearing Bank of America. Bank of America. Keep hearing that name. Last Friday, Bank of America and Jeff Gundlach opened a can of worms when they pointed out two things. First, that the Fed had not yet bought a single corporate bond under its month-old secondary market corporate credit facility. Ouch! You say one thing and you do another. The check is in the mail, man. I'm telling you, man. Yo, Bernanke, man, you used to be a Fed chair. Can you holler at your boy? Can you see what's taking so long? I need that money, man. I tell you what, man, I'm gonna do you a solid. I'm gonna get on the phone right now. I'm gonna holler at him. I'm gonna see what's up. All right, I got you, man. I got you. We're family. Yo, man, what's up with the check? Oh, it's not coming. What do you mean? But you just told me, man, the check was in the mail. Yeah, I know it's not coming. That's all I got for you, man. I gotta go. I'm busy. Bye. Click up. That's what's happening. Next, that it's time for the Fed to start buying, with Bank of America going so far as to write a note to the Fed in which its credit strategist wrote that a lot of investors, including non-credit ones, have brought IG corporate bonds the past 2 months on the expectation, underline that word, they can sell to you, Mr. Federal Reserve. So it would be helpful if you soon began buying broadly and in size. That is an open letter to the Fed. Ooh, this is getting sticky, icky. All right, I can speak a little authoritatively on this subject. Let me tell you that the banks, especially the big banks, they do have economists on payroll. All right. The upstairs suite where the CEO and CFO and everybody is, they're sitting beside them as their economists. And I gotta tell you the truth, man. I can't front. They got some really bright people, man. Not like what you see on the business money shows on cable. Nah, man. Nah, man. I know you can remember this if you're listening, Mark. Remember when we went to that thing out in Texas, and those economists was painting a very black picture of the mortgage crisis back in 2008. Man, I never seen so much information in my life. They had charts and graphs. They had a picture of the United States, and they had highlighted all the areas that were going to be absolutely decimated and in need of a bailout from the Fed or whatever. The ones, pretty much the whole map was red, like it was on fire. But California, Florida, and Texas were the biggest, especially California and Florida. Though California and Florida was like neck and neck. It was disastrous, and they even gave timelines and stuff when this would happen and the next wave and this. It was incredible, and I have to tell you, it was on point. When I say it was on point, I mean it was on point. It was right. They were spot on, down to the last penny. So if we're reading an article now that's saying that Bank of America has asked its peoples on payroll to holler at the Fed, it's serious. That means it's even more serious than is even being exposed in the article. Like, for real. Whenever a bank is trying to holler at the Fed, it is trouble is on the horizon. I don't mean no little trouble. I mean big trouble. Right after we had that, we went to that special meeting. That's when all heck broke loose with the financial crisis. When we went, there was no financial crisis. When we got home, oh, it was a financial crisis. I will never forget that moment. So if the bank's economists are saying, "Yo, man, we shook right now, we scared," let me show you something. You got Fire Marshal Bill showing up in your office looking like he does after he catches fire or explodes, and he says, "Follow me to the conference room." Why, Fire Marshal Bill? Let me show you something. I would not want to be looking at the charts that they are looking at. I tell you that. I'm glad it ain't me that got to sit there and absorb what those people telling the Fed right now. Good grief. The very next workday, the Fed responded when on Monday morning, the New York Fed, in response to the rhetorical goading by the bond king and one of the top U.S. banks, provided an updated FAQ, a fact, for the primary market corporate credit facility, better known as PMCCF. They love acronyms, you guys. And secondary market corporation credit facility, known as SMCCF. As we reported yesterday, the most important update was that the Fed expects to begin purchasing ETFs in early May. Well, it's May 7th, y'all, boys and girls. Obviously, means any day now. Don't hold your breath. Commenting on this latest development, B of A, which started the ripple effect that eventually forced the Fed to chime in, said that it considers the Fed's announcement, quote unquote, to be a major step forward, as some investors were beginning to wonder if, underline the word if, given improved market conditions, the Fed would ever need to implement the PMCCF or SMCCF, end quote. Because while Draghi could get away with whatever it takes as a perpetual threat, for the Fed to successfully unclog markets, it would need to get its hands dirty. Separately, the Fed also stated that the PMCCF will be operational and they will begin buying individual corporate bonds under the SMCCF shortly thereafter. We're about to get real dark. And while Bank of America thinks that overall these plans are encouraging for corporate bond spreads, The bad news is that the Fed left outstanding requirements for issuers to make certain certifications to be eligible even under the SMCCF, adding that in its view, this is the Achilles heel of the SMCCF and the most difficult topic for the Fed to tackle. So they put some roadblocks, some stumbling blocks in your way, or should I say on your way, to grabbing some of that free cash. Man, this is getting scary. Taking a step back and reverting to its lecturing posture of what the Fed should and shouldn't do, B of A then writes that the Fed, like the ECB, should take a broad portfolio approach to buying corporate bonds under the SMCCF, admitting that they are bound to make mistakes. All investors do, including the ECB. In a broad portfolio, these will not be material. After all, the Fed will already be buying ETFs and thus ineligible bank bonds, long maturities, and companies receiving loans under the CARES Act, and some that have conflicts of interest. Not to mention the Fed will own debt in companies that will soon restructure and end up holding post-petition equity. What happens then? And will the Fed merely sell off its equity stakes? Nobody knows. Because nobody can even consider a world just 3 months into the future where central planning has taken over markets, which are now administered policy tools on behalf of the Fed and Treasury. To this, all B of A has to add is start with conservative but broad criteria and have a process for companies to opt in if they feel unfairly left out. If you make a mistake, stop buying and sell. Easier said than done, right? In short, B of A really wants the Fed to buy broadly and in size, as it said last Friday. There was some more bad news. However, because as B of A credit analyst Hans Mikkelsen calculates, in terms of ETFs, we have estimated the Fed has capacity to buy about 28 billion of IG and about 8 billion of HY ETFs. Wow. Wow. Given they will only buy up to 20% of each fund, as Mickelson said, then he adds, this small size is the reason ETF buying in itself is underwhelming. The Fed's updated fact also specifies that it will only pay a premium over NAV, net asset value. Whoa. How Joy used to do in that sitcom? Whoa. Mm-mm. Of the lesser of 1% or the standard deviation of daily premiums over the past 52 weeks, it's not just B of A that was let down by the Fed's announcement. In a note from Goldman's Lotfi Karui, he agrees with B of A that the ETF buying facility may end up disappointing far more people, noting that the Fed reiterated that the burden is on the issuers to make the first move regarding participation in the programs. Eligible issuers under the PMCCF and SMCCF will be required to certify compliance with the eligibility criteria. The requirements and processes for certification are under development and will be provided in the near future. So they don't even have that ready yet. Yeah, the Fed is really excited about doing this. And then concluding that the guidance on ETF pricing suggests the Fed is focused on market liquidity and will not be buying ETFs at a premium. To avoid overpayment for an ETF relative to the cost of purchasing its underlying assets and avoiding contributing to elevated demand that an ETF may already be expecting. Goldman turned outright gloomy. Gloomy. Dun, dun, dun. The additional information, specifically the focus on funding backstops and market liquidity, supports our view that the Fed is adopting a posture of lender of last resort to non-financial corporations, as opposed to a regular and relatively sizable market participant with a predictable flow of purchases like the ECB or the BAE. In our view, this is a different outcome than what most market participants priced in after the March 23rd and April the 9th announcements. This, combined with a backdrop of heavy new issue activity, leaves us comfortable with the view that the case for further spread tightening in the USD IG market is weak at the current juncture. That said, we still do not expect USD IG spreads to revisit the March wides. In short, while the market still has the impression that the Fed's ETF buying will kick in as an automatic stabilizer during the next crisis, the reality may be that the bond ETF complex may very soon tumble as traders test just how real is the Fed's resolve to stabilize the bond market. In conclusion, a disappointed Bank of America writes that as a result, expect most, if not all, ETF premiums to converge close to those values, thus further limiting the Fed's ability to buy in size in all but the most adverse scenarios, which will likely prove self-defeating, as during the next crash, traders will do everything in their power to accelerate the drop to force the Fed to go all in and start buying stocks. A few days ago, during our live, I told you that my next biggest concern was the bond market. Ladies and gentlemen, we could be on the precipice of something close to a nightmare that no one has even dared to fathom. I showed you in a chart a few days ago when we looked at the TLT. I told you that the market was moving real funny and that I was concerned. I was very concerned. Do y'all remember that? I'm trying to tell y'all, man, it's not looking right. Now, they have protected themselves from a historical perspective where they made it so that you could not short the TLT. And to my knowledge, I don't even know if it has a options market. I need to double check that right quick. Let's look and see. And then I'll put your Bitcoin back up in a minute. Let me just see here. TLT. Okay, it does have an options market. Okay, it has an options market. That's good to know. All right, so if you can't find shares outright to short, you should be able to get in, buy a put if need be. That's usually the only time that I will get involved in the options markets, or if I have been left with no choice and I can't gain access into the market any other way. Then I'm forced to get in there and go into the options market to seek entry that way. Because let's say, like the TLT, let's say I want to short that market, but my broker won't let me. They say it's on the list of non-shortables, meaning that even if they can locate stock, they're not gonna, because it's on the do not short list. The government put that on the list. Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have been spending time this morning showing you some pretty dire stuff. Traditionally, we could always rely on the PPT. But I think what we just learned in this last article is that either the Fed is unwilling to or perhaps unable to do anything. The PPT looks like they have been laid off. So to add to the 20, 30 million people that have been laid off, it now appears that the plunge protection team has been laid off as well. Based on what we just heard here, it doesn't look like the Fed is going to be bailing out anything. All right, Nathan, if you want to track that TLT, it's an ETF, so it's in the equity space, but I cover the TLT every night. I cover that. That's the TLT is the long. It's like the 20/30-year bond. So that's the one I track every night in my end of day reports. We always look at the bonds. It's also on the equity sheet. Yeah, it's on the equity sheet. And if you have an account with a traditional like stock brokerage, like Thinkorswim, Interactive Brokers, Fidelity, whomever, just type in TLT and it'll come up. All right. You can also, for those of you that don't have a brokerage account, but you want to look at data, just go to Yahoo Finance. Go to Yahoo Finance, type in the ticker TLT, and all the stuff you want to know about it will come up. During the trading day, Yahoo Finance also has some stocks in real time, and it's free. All right, so just some FYI there for you. All right, I can keep going because we got so much more. We've only scratched the surface of what I wanted to go over. So let's do a quick show of hands in the live stream. Who wants me to keep going? Raise your hand. If you want me to keep going, say something in the live and I'll keep going. If not, I will stop here and we'll just have to take up some more tomorrow. So show of hands. Who wants me to keep going? I'll give y'all a few moments to vote in the live what you want me to do. Should I keep going or do we cut it here and continue another day? I'll give you a few more moments to decide. I know there's a little delay here, I think. Because there's so much more to talk about. But we're making a dent though. We are making a dent. I'm getting there. All right. Oh man. Okay. All right. All right. So y'all want all the smoke? Is that what you're trying to say? You want all the smoke? Okay. All right. Y'all want all the smoke? All right. Here we go. Get ready for the next game changer in the markets. Is y'all ready? The gold-backed digital yuan. The gold-backed digital yuan, or yuan, however you want to say it. Someone says, what do you think about Project Bluebeam? I'm gonna be honest with you, ma'am. I don't really have a lot of stock in the Project Bluebeam. I think that was something. I think the technology exists. I think it's a real thing, but I don't think it's a thing. Does that make sense? Okay, let me break it down. I believe that the technology does exist. I believe that there is a real thing called Project Bluebeam and all that good stuff, but I don't think that it is what people think it is and what it's for. Most people, when they think about it, they think about like a fake rapture. You can't fake the rapture. That is impossible. That is physically and logistically impossible to fake a rapture. You can beam, an image from the sky, but it'll be laughed at because the fake images of Jesus Christ that exist are just that, fake images. I forget which king it is, but technically speaking, the most popular face you see, I think it's either the brother or the nephew of some European king. I forget the actual name, but it's a fact because Jesus was not was not Caucasian. All right. He was from he was original Hebrew Israelite. I don't know about you, but I don't have time to go into this now, but there are many books written on the subject. If you do a little bit of digging, I'm sure you can find some stuff. I don't have the books now. They went out of print, and due to some circumstances several years ago, I have lost a lot of my rare books. So I'll just tell you what I saw in one of the rare books. As you know, they invented the photograph, a long time ago. There was a picture that a team of archaeologists took when they traveled at this time back to the Holy Land. And I'm here to tell you that the Hebrew Israelites that they had photographs of were just as dark as the background on that chart that you're looking at on the display here. And they were very little people. Therefore, if they do Project Bluebeam, they will be showing a picture of the fake image of Christ. And anyone who believes it would absolutely be a person of a low IQ or someone who is extremely gullible. Okay? That is not the way the biblical rapture is going to go. I do not have time to go into all of that in this live stream. Perhaps in a future live, we will go there. All right. A new radical paradigm shift is in progress. The U.S. economy may shrink as much as 40% in the first semester of 2020. China already had the world's largest economy by triple P for a few years now. May soon become the world's largest economy, even in exchange rate terms. The post-planet lockdown world, still a hazy mirage, may well need a post-planet lockdown currency, and that's where a serious candidate steps into the fray, the fiat digital yuan. Last month, the People's Bank of China, PBOC, confirmed that a group of top banks started trials in electronic payment in 4 different Chinese regions using the new digital yuan. Yet there's no timetable yet for the official launch of what is called the Digital Currency Electronic Payment, or DCEP. DCEP. Oh, that's dope. DCEP. DCEP. All my New Yorkers that are listening to this live stream, when I say DCEP, that kind of touches a little close to home, doesn't it? Rest in peace to one of the dopest MCs of all time, my main man, Sean Price, of the incredible duo group Helter Skelter. DCEP. It's funny they named it DCEP. I'm over here bugging off of that. DCEP? Really? What? What does China know about Ruck and Rock? What they know about DCEP? What they know about Helter Skelter? What they know about the boot camp clip? What they know about? Huh? What they know about that? What they know about Brooklyn? Like, they don't know nothing about no Brooklyn. And y'all thinking the funk over there, China, some DCEP. What y'all know about that? What y'all know about Brownsville? Y'all don't know nothing about no Brownsville, Brooklyn, China. Come on, some DCEP. That was funny. The man with the plan is PBOC Governor Yi Gang. He has confirmed that apart from the trials in, Suzhou, Zhejiang, and Chengdu, and Shenzhen, the PBOC is also testing hypothetical scenarios for the 2022 Winter Olympics. While DCEP, man, I keep saying DCEP. Every time these images just keep flying in my head. I'm so sorry, but DCEP. I just keep thinking about Helter Skelter. I keep thinking about the original gun clappers. I keep thinking about the boot camp click and Black Moon, and images of MOP and images of Freddie Fox. You know, just keep flooding my memory banks. Every time I keep saying the word DCEP, this reminds me of the whole Brownsville joint. Anyway, I know that's over most of y'all's heads. You don't even know what I'm talking about, but that's okay. I digress. Let's move forward. While DCEP, according to Yi, has made very good progress, he insists the PBOC will be cautious in terms of risk control, especially to study anti-money laundering and know your customer requirements to incorporate in the design and system of DCEP. Interesting to know your customer, that they're going to put that in there. That's to be anticipated because we're talking about a communistic country, communistic government. DCEP should be interpreted as the roadmap for China, leading to an eventual, even more groundbreaking replacement of the US dollar as the world reserve currency. China is already ahead in the digital currency sweepstakes. The sooner DCEP is launched, the better to convince the world, especially the global South, to tag along. Oh, this right here is all of that. So in other words, China's saying they're taking over. So DCEP is on the rampage. DCEP is saying, yo, run your Timbs, run your winter coat, US. That's what China's saying to the US. Run that. Run all of that. I want to take all of that off. Take off that chain, take off your watch. Take it all off. Run everything. I can't believe China's telling the US to run it. The PBOC is developing the system with 4 top state-owned banks, as well as payment behemoths, Tencent and Ant Financial. A mobile app developed by the Agricultural Bank of China, ABC, is already circulating on WeChat. This is, in effect, an interface linked to DCEP. Moreover, 19 restaurants and retail establishments, including Starbucks, McDonald's, and Subway, are part of the pilot testing. What? China is advancing fast on the whole digital spectrum. A blockchain service network, BSN, was launched not only for domestic, but also for global trade purposes. Did I not tell you that the governments of the world were going to create their own crypto along with their own blockchain? I told you this in 2016. Who was listening? Does anybody listen anymore? I don't know. A large committee is supervising BSN, including executives from PBOC, Baidu, and Tencent, according to the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, MIIT. And I said Baidu, not Erica Baidu, but Baidu. All right, backed by gold. So what does this all mean? Well-connected banking sources in Hong Kong have told me Beijing is not interested for the yuan to replace the US dollar. For all the interest across the global South in bypassing it, especially now that the petrodollar is in a coma. The petrodollar is in a coma. The petrodollar is in a coma. Underline that one. The official Beijing position is that the US dollar should be replaced by an IMF approved special drawing rights. All right, you SDR people. There you go. There's your SDR. There it is. There's your the meat on the bone you guys have been looking for, calling for, talking about this for the last 299,000 years. There you go. There you go. There's your SDR. All right. Basket of currencies: dollar, euro, won, yen. That would eliminate the heavy burden of the yuan as the sole reserve currency. But what may be just a diversionist tactic is an environment of all-out information war. A basket of currencies under the IMF still implies U.S. control, not exactly what China wants. Notice how they say we're in an information war. Go ahead and underline the word information war. Underline that phrase, information war. Looks like Alex Jones was right. Info war. That's why the government is fighting for its life by banning everyone on social media that has an IQ over 85. If you have an IQ over 85 and you're on social media, your days are numbered. That's why you got to go to PulseWaveTrading.com if you want to be kept abreast of what's going on. We can still make our own videos and post them to our website. All right? The meat of the matter is that a digital sovereign yuan may be backed by gold. That's not confirmed yet. Gold could serve as a direct backup to back bonds or just lay there as collateral. What's certain is that once Beijing announces a digital currency backed by gold, it will be like the US dollar being struck by lightning. Under this new framework, nations won't need to export more to China than they import, so they have enough yuan to trade. And Beijing won't have to keep printing yuan electronically and artificially, as in the case of the US dollar, to meet trade demands. Stop right there. That part right there should have punched everyone right between the eyes. What have I been saying for the last 4 years? Have you not watched my documentary, There Is No Collapse? Have you not watched my documentary, The Fed versus the blockchain, the central banks versus the cryptocurrency market? What did I tell you? I told you the printing presses that they keep showing you on television is for your purposes only. It is fake. It is a lie. They print money electronically, as you just heard here in the article. Everything is digital, electronic, and has been for some time. You, as the ignorant masses, just haven't known about it because your government has censored the whole idea. No talking points on TV, no one addressing it, unless they want to be fired and have their careers ruined. The fact of the matter is we don't print money anymore. The money that is in circulation and that's it. They're not printing like you think. There's two different printing presses, folks. There's the digital one for the powers that be, for the government, for the banks, and then there's the physical cash for you knuckleheads out there. So you can go buy the new Jordans. So they say, because I know that's what you're going to say. Well, what about the new $100 bills? That is printing. That's paper. No, you not listening. I say they have two different presses. They have the printing press, the physical printing press to print physical money, and its only and sole job is to create new currency and replace old currency. That's it. It's not printing quote unquote new money, putting more money in the system. No, it's replacing the old money. You didn't know that old money is destroyed and they print new money? You didn't know that? Okay, well, now you do. When you hear them saying, oh, the Fed keeps printing money, they're talking about creating the digital asset. That means they keep pushing the return key on their keypad that says, okay, now this bank, you automatically now have this much, bank, you have that much. That's what they mean by printing money. All right? It's not physical. They're not delivering physical dollar bills to the bank. So, Bank of America, you say you need to borrow $1 billion. Okay, the armed truck will be there tomorrow with $1 billion. No, ma'am, no, sir. $1 billion can't fit on an armored truck. More like 10 tractor trailers. All right, that's how that would work. Do you see that? Do you see tractor trailers rolling down the street? No, you don't. When's the last time you seen a convoy of tractor trailers pulling up to your bank so they can give them the money that they needed, that they asked for. You don't, and you won't, because it's all digital. Moving on. The digital yuan will be effectively backed up by the massive amount of made in China goods and services, and not by a transoceanic empire of 800 bases. Shots fired at the US. And the value of the digital yuan will be decided by the market, as it happens with Bitcoin. You know, we're gonna have to part ways on that last part, because Bitcoin is still not a free market anymore. It used to be, but it's not anymore. I know you want to fight me over that. I know you want to smack me over that. You purist out there, you Bitcoin purist. But I'm the one that exposed to you that your Bitcoin had been violated. Your Bitcoin had been financially raped by large U.S. institutions and foreign powers. All right. I'm the one that told you that your precious Bitcoin was gang raped. You didn't believe me, though, until it was made official that the Chicago Board of Options, it came out with a Bitcoin Composite Futures Index that is a tradable contract. You didn't believe me until you saw that. You didn't believe me. But now you do. And what are you going to do about it? They made it so it's impossible for you to do a rape kit. You can't do it because you don't even know who the powers that be are until somebody exposes it. But I've already told you who they are. I told you it is large funds, and especially sovereign funds. The governments of the world have been operating in that space. How else do you think they're able to come up with their own version of it? That's what our governments do, folks. You didn't know? Nobody told you? You didn't get the memo? Okay, let me explain to you guys how the world works, because you're not following me. I can see it in your eyes. Your eyeballs are glazing over. I know. All right, here's how it goes. Have you ever wondered how is it that ABC Corp can come out with a new gadget, let's say a new iPhone, and it's the best thing since sliced bread? Oh, look at this. It's taking telephones to another level. We call it the smartphone. It's not a flip phone, it's a smartphone. And all you do, there's no buttons on the phone. You just touch the screen. It's all touching. Oh, isn't this incredible? This is so spiritual. It's so supernatural. Like the gum, like the old Wrigley's gum commercial, the humpback whale commercial. And she missed it. And the person was, oh, it's so spiritual. And then by the time she looks over, the whale's already gone. She missed it. She missed the humpback whale. That's what they was out in the middle of the water for. They went out there to see the humpback whale, and she missed it because she was taken up in rapture because of the taste of the Wrigley's gum. Well, it's the same thing here. All right. When the iPhone first came out, everybody was like, "It's so spiritual," right? And next thing you know, you got all these other companies coming out with a duplicated product. Now, of course, they changed it a little bit, but they had to. You don't want to get sued, but they were able to come out with it. That's why there is a counterfeit product or a lookalike product, an artificial product for every real product because of that. I need to clear my throat. I will be right back. All right, we are back. Woo. Now, see, I have a what do you call it? A a nasal thing, whatever. Had my adenoids taken out when I was like 7, and they grow back. So I have issues. I have to clear my throat a lot, and it is what it is. All right, so basically, to end this in a nutshell, we have a situation where it looks like China is trying to strike first. They want to come out with their product first. They want to be first. And the US, their attention is somewhere else. They're not really paying attention to what's happening. And because of it, they're going to put themselves in a precarious situation. I think at the end of the day, you guys, I really think this. I believe that the US is going to really just have to start focusing inwardly, and it's not going to be able to play on the grand theater stage anymore because they're going to have too much problems at home. Okay. I don't think they have any other choice. From what we have covered just today, there's still a whole lot more that we're going to be going over. This is going to take the course of several days because I have so much to share with you. So we're going to do that. But just understand that this thing with China is real. The trade war situation is real. And this is a race for dominance in the space. And when countries are struggling, like what we're seeing happening right now, we already know the results. They're going to go to war. War is inevitable at this point because the worlds are starving. And the problem is that they did this on purpose. Because remember, the central banks are absolutely out of control. We have allowed them to control the nation's money. We've allowed them to have dictatorial powers over the government because they own the government. You've nationalized everything. And I think this right here was just the last straw. The last part of the plan was to own everything outright by nationalizing everything and convincing everyone that they had to shut down the borders in order for them to work in private. And that's pretty much what has happened, right? So it's sad what we're seeing, but I don't know if there's any way to stop it because we're too far gone. Like I said, the patient is coding on the table and has been coding for a while. All right. We're going to get into some more of this stuff later on, but I am going to work on a surprise. And like Frank had me tell you earlier in the broadcast, we are definitely working on some things for you guys. We got big plans. So stay tuned. Remember, PulseWaveTrading.com. Do not miss the opportunity to go there and sign up, get that free account going, because if all of a sudden we're taking off of the air, what are you gonna do? How you gonna listen to us? You won't know where we are and what we're doing. So go to PulseWaveTrading.com while you still can. And I will see the rest of you this evening. And then the other ones I'll see in the trading room. And remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. Peace.